Hi, I'm Becca Gilmartin, and thank you to Beauty Expo Australia for giving us this space so we can have a little mini retreat, we can reconnect, and we can take a big deep breath in this wild year. I thought it would be fun to actually just film myself doing one of my own little artist retreat and now hang out with you and explain what I've done, and hopefully by the end of the session you're inspired to go and create one for yourself. So there are 3 parts to a little mini artist retreat, which we all deserve in 2020 on a regular basis. So the first part is, as you can see here, creating a beautiful space. And you can do this however and wherever you want to do this. But it needs to be a space where you can do some writing. I'm a big advocate for writing on paper instead of on a computer for this sort of thing. Obviously candles. That candle smells amazing, by the way. And then doing practical activity. And you don't have to do it all at once. I definitely didn't do it all at once. But let's just take a moment to reset. So the first thing is, this is my book, The Makeup Artist Bootcamp, now known as The Retreat. I am working on a redesign of this book. Due to feedback, people say, oh, it's too many words. And I'm really excited to later on this year to launch that. But for now, if you actually head to my website, which was linked below before, you can download this version of the book for free. And in 2020, I thought, what better way to contribute back to my beautiful industry than to actually give this book for anyone to download. And what I'm about to do here is one of the exercises in the book that I have done for years and I love it. Takes you into the now, and it's called Love 80. And Love 80 is where, okay, first I've paused here because you're going to write yourself a love letter and you write it to your age. So, dear 43, la 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 la, I'm writing words of advice from myself as an 80-year-old, and I'm putting myself in my 80-year-old shoes, and I'm writing myself now words of advice of things that I regretted doing, I regretted not doing, and it's basically writing a love letter from yourself as an 80-year-old, and I can't recommend this enough. I will probably never shut up about how brilliant body art is as a makeup artist to really connect and get in the zone and really unlock all of those parts of your own creativity. It's really inexpensive to set up. This is my little personal kit. I use Tag and Kryolan. You can get them online. I think they're like $9 a colour. And in here you'll find as many tips and tricks as I could possibly fit into one book. Like, for example, what to do if there's water on your paint, which I still experience. But there's step-by-step activities. So line work, you might just want to paint lace on your hand or a mandala, and you don't realize it, but you're training your hand and your eye for killer eyeliner. There's templates if you're someone who doesn't think that they can draw, and it progressively goes up and we get to the orchid, which is the piece of resistance. I wanted to share with you the length and breadth of a creative process, because I know I'm always inspired by seeing someone else's work. So the first thing is I always collect inspiration, and some of these are inspo pictures and some of these are also reference pictures. I knew I wanted to paint a tattooed hand that focused on the creative aspects of this year, and the original vision, like, look at that sketch. The original vision was a hand, giant hand, painting this voluptuous sculpted woman. And then I realized, because the clay wasn't quite settling, that I needed to just trust the process and give her, you know, the time and respect she needed. And I went back to square one, and I've decided not only am I going to paint an exercise on my hand so I can practice line work and reconnect for myself even. I haven't done makeup in, I mean, I've done a couple of jobs, but I haven't, no one's career is the same as it always was this year. So I wanted to make a backdrop and a little mini set for my hand paint and have it as a nice little image that I can treasure as part of a good thing that happened in 2020. So look, I'm not saying that I encourage you to go out and spend hours literally cutting grass and making a little set, but I wanted to show you that I just went down the rabbit hole of where my creativity wanted to go. And this is all part of a retreat. It's not censoring yourself and following joy. And joy to me, and I know it's not for everyone, but joy to me is just going with the flow and doing what you need to do to create a vision. And I do know a lot of makeup artists who, spend hours and hours making headpieces and costumes. And, so why not build a little mini set for my hand painting for this session? Here what I'm doing is I'm using string, and the background's made out of recycled IKEA boxes. I'm, reuse, recycle, and just some acrylic paints, and I'm creating a green wall. And I had already spent hours cutting out, you'll see me here cutting out tiny, tiny, tiny leaves. And look, I'm not saying that that's everyone's cup of tea, but I find it really relaxing to do a repetitious activity and just let my intuition go. And yes, I sat there and individually glued little mini leaves. These are, you'll see at the top here, in New York, I'd already been doing some of this work, and I had painted my Trader Joe's shopping bags and created little mini leaves for my green wall. And yes, I'm individually putting stems on. I don't know if you remember, there was, in the middle of that reference picture, there was this beautiful picture that was by Gucci that had the background of the clouds and very painterly. And I'm constantly inspired by the artists that Gucci uses, and so I use that as a reference to paint a little background, and my hand's going to sit in front of that, you'll see. But I think the whole point of me doing this was the rules of the game for a retreat, for a creative retreat anyway, is I was like, just go down the rabbit hole. You've got the time, let it go where it wants to go. Don't censor yourself and see what you come up with. So I did. I just let it rip. And I probably did this over about 4 or 5 days. Coming back to Australia and having the crazy beginning of 2020 that I had, and I'm pretty sure no one watching this has had a smooth ride. I found just the process of doing this was really healing, and it really ignited my creativity again. And these are little gold sculptures. So that's an eyeshadow palette. I did a lipstick and an eye, and my vision is to have these floating above my fingers. I knew I wanted to touch base with line work, because muscle memory needs to be kept healthy with practice. So doing tattoos on my hand, I knew was going to have me reconnect. And that bag there is from quarantine in Melbourne. And you can see, there's that picture from Gucci. So you can see she's got a collar with a bow. And just one day I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do that for my hand. So, what's a creative project without creating a wrist collar for your body paint? But when you're doing your retreat, I really encourage you, don't censor yourself. Don't worry about time. You don't even need to do this for anyone to see. You just do what you think is going to be fun. You don't need to do tattoos. Oh, here it is. This is the final backdrop with the little bit of grass, and my hand's going to sit there, and I'm crossing my fingers that it's all going to work. And I've put the little gold pieces on green screen because the vision is to actually Photoshop them all together as a collage. I know I'm not going to be able to do everything. Yes, let's paint to get in the zone. The thing that I really love about body art, yes, you connect to your creativity. Yes, muscle memory happens when you're painting. So for example, when I used to teach makeup, I would teach eyeliner and you'd practice it twice. And then that's it. You go out and you're in the world as a makeup artist. These are just some craft brushes that I use. I'm just showing you all the bits and pieces. But what I realized early on is the more I actually play with body art, so it was when I was painting a corset and I was painting buttons, and I was like, this is the same brush movement, brush texture of paint, the same pressure of my brush that I used to do eyeliner, but on this corset I'm painting. I'm doing this like 100 times, and by the time I'd finished the corset and I went back in to do makeup, I was like, wait a minute, my confidence has just gone through the roof. But the other thing that playing with body art does for you is, you know, when you're working with a client, we're always interrupted, and we're always trying to appeal to someone else, and we're always, you know, there's always something else going on. And one of my frustrations as a makeup artist is I find that I'm never actually able to get in fully in the zone. Like there's some sort of zone you can get into, and so what I'm doing here is really working that paint into that brush, and always try it on your arm first. I promise you, once you get the consistency right, you'll be thankful for that practice. So going back to what I was saying is playing with body art, and you know, here I'm painting my hand white, which, by the way, white is the hardest color in body art to use. You think you've got 100% opacity, and then 10 minutes later it's disappeared. So you might have to do 2 or 3 coats, but the art of getting used to, like, if you can nail a good white base, you can do anything. I know up until now we've talked about the fundamentals of creating your own artist retreat, which are, number 1, create a nice space to do it in, whether it be like what I've done here at a desk, or if in reality I love to do retreats and journal work in bed. I can do it outside, you know, whatever makes you happy. Number 2 is doing mindset exercises, and if you download the book and have a look, there's a bunch of exercises in there, not just sitting in your 80-year-old your 80-year-old shoes and writing yourself a love letter. There's an exercise called I Am, and it's, for anyone who's done the course will tell you, it's confronting yet pretty incredible and enlightening, to say the least, because one thing I've known and practiced for years and years is reminding myself on a daily basis, sometimes moment to moment, is we only have right now, and the past has happened, the future hasn't happened yet. We can only be responsible for our thoughts, feelings and actions in the right now, and doing the I Am exercise really creates access for you to have a look at what your thought process is as an artist. And what you know, in 2020, it's like the game has changed and there's a whole bunch of new things. And I will say I have been doing retreats on a regular basis for myself, and I think what I wanted to mention here is, even though here I've created an outline for what a retreat might look like, it actually doesn't have any rules. A retreat does not, your self-care as an artist does not have rules. In other words, there is no right or wrong way to do your retreat. But the whole purpose and the whole intention of creating a space for yourself to have a retreat is to give back to yourself as an artist. And I know that some of you might be thinking, but I'm not an artist, and you might not even be a makeup artist. But as human beings, we all are born with creativity, a creative side. And in our job, I don't know about what job you do, but in my job as a makeup artist, I feel like one foot's in the service industry and the other foot's in the creative industry. And so much focus and pressure is put on the service side of things. And so a retreat for me is ensuring that I'm maintaining some sort of balance and nurturing the creative side, because both sides need to be balanced for me to feel full and ready to go when there's a client in front of me. And even in 2020, when a lot of us haven't had a client in front of us for months, I mean, while I'm recording this, Victoria's still in lockdown. And if you are from Victoria, I just want to send you all of my love, because I did 14 weeks isolation lockdown myself in New York, and I know what that can be like. And I really hope that you that this session here with you now is like a little prompt for you, not to set a challenge or anything, because who's got the energy for challenges in 2020? It's to just give you the nudge to be like, hey, maybe one afternoon, grab out whatever makeup you've got. You might have body paints. You might even want to use like a non-toxic acrylic. It doesn't matter. But just allow, even if you're not doing body art, if you're just painting on a canvas or you're sculpting with clay, or, you know, some of us have Play-Doh and I don't know, I'm just throwing things out. But you get the point. Just let yourself get into that creative zone, because it's something that the more we do, and I know for myself, the more I do body art and the more I let myself get into that creative zone, the healthier and more tapped in to my own aesthetic and my own skills I feel. And so when I walk into whether it be a fashion shoot or, you know, a commercial shoot, my little inner dialogue, I know how to now quieten her out and just listen and observe and understand maybe what the client wants, and my efficiency is more, I feel more confident. And I know a lot of you think, oh, you know, but Becca, you can do whatever you want. A lot of people don't realize this, but I'm naturally a very nervous person, and I think this is why I am so passionate about this course, because it's not that this is something fun to just talk about all the time. This is actually something I do all of the time for myself, because my default setting as an artist is 1, introverted, 2, really socially awkward, so constantly like worried about not saying the right thing, or and then also just doubting my creative skills all of the time. And that's my default setting. So generally on a daily basis, when I go and do a job, I'm having to, you know, put all of this into practice. And I can do it really quickly now. I can get onto a job, well, when there were jobs to go to, I can go on a job and sometimes pick up things that normally might have been missed with clients. And I feel there's an intuition with what a client really wants, and I know how to be a little bit more, I don't know, it's really hard to describe, but I just can't express to you enough, it doesn't matter what you do in your retreat as long as you're putting time aside for it. And one of the things that I've been doing more often lately is a little bit more getting in the creative zone and just letting my mind go silent. Just taking a moment to breathe. I actually read a article recently where some scientists did some studies with some concert pianists who, you know, went on and did a piece, and they measured the body's response to them getting in the zone, and they measured deeper breaths, more relaxing of the body, more serotonin was released in the body, which in itself is enough. I know after doing this exercise, I think I spent about an hour painting this tattoo hand. The benefit I got from this, it's been a while since I've actually body painted for that long. I'd forgotten how nice it made me feel. And if you're doing this and you know that no one's going to see it and you're just letting yourself paint, and it doesn't matter what you paint, you could paint flowers, you could paint patterns, everything is beneficial to your makeup skills, everything. So whether it be line work, whether it just be, I saw on Instagram today the most beautiful hand that had been painted with blue fingers at the top, and it was just monochromatic, just slowly faded out from dark blue to light blue to white, and it was phenomenal. I was like, I want to try that. I'm not going to post it, I'm not going to put it anywhere, but the fact that as a makeup artist, I'm giving myself opportunities to create, that's the kindest thing I can do. So I really do encourage you to just set some time aside, and maybe just, number one, I really encourage you to do Love 80 exercise. It's golden. I do it all the time, and I really hope it's as insightful for you as it has been for me and other people in my classes to do it. It can sometimes be a bit emotional, but it doesn't have to be. You just free write and let yourself write whatever you want. But once this session is over, put a couple of hours aside, get your paints out and think about something you might want to paint. You could use one of the exercises from the book, or you can just get a picture off Pinterest and try and copy it and use the products that you have, and don't censor yourself. Really, it sounds like frivolous fun, but I have never had a paint session that I haven't come out of feeling a lot better for. You know, like sometimes back in the days when we were allowed to go to the movie theatre, picture theatre, and I would go into a movie and somehow it was like it just paused the rest of the world around me, and I'd come out feeling a little more reset. That's what painting on your hand, painting on the back of your hand, painting on your leg, painting on your child's face, painting on your partner's head, doesn't matter. It's the art of doing. And I really hope that you take it on, not as a challenge that you have to do, but as something that you know will be an investment in yourself. You don't need to show anyone, but if you want to take photos and send it, I would love to see what you come up with, and know that we're all in 2020 together, and the world is has to get back up, and there will be some version of normal again one day. I'll stop my voiceover ramblings. I think I've tried to convince you enough that a paint retreat or an artist retreat is actually the most kindest and loving thing that you can do for yourself, that does not require you to produce results. It just requires you to show up. So for now, I'm going to leave you with the paint, and I'm going to leave you with the music, and just focus on your breathing. Let yourself quieten your mind as much as possible, aka your inner dialogue, who I call Mind's Not Face. Take the microphone away from Stop Face for a while and just let go and just be present. And I'll see you on the other side of this next 8 or so minutes. So I hope this session and my voiceover ramblings have prompted you to go out after this and create some time for yourself, create a space, do some, at least do Love 80, do some creative work, get in the zone, go down that rabbit hole and stay connected to your own creativity without censorship. It's a practice I've done for years that I find very beneficial, and we never before have we needed it so much as we have in 2020. So join me on my social media, jump on beccagilmartin.net. I'll blog about this, listing all the products as well as the link to the book and hopefully a beautiful final product. Until then, be kind to yourself.